Greetings, Pokefans! Michael here. As you've probably noticed from the different colored walls behind me, I am no longer at home. I am now in my dorm room for the year for my final year at college, and while I am excited to start my final year, I'm still not totally happy with this lighting setup yet, but I kind of had to do this video already because I was kind of running out of time, so I apologize if it's not as pretty as I normally like it, but I'll fix it in the future, I promise. A couple weeks ago, Pokemon revealed a new feature that's going to be in Pokemon Sun and Moon, Alola Forms. Essentially, certain already known Pokemon have adapted to different microclimates in the Alola region, resulting in them having different appearances, typing, and movesets that are very different from the forms that we already know. I personally adore this concept since I think it's a really cool, creative, and unexpected way of bringing some older Pokemon back into the spotlight. At the time of publishing this video, there have been 8 Alolan form Pokemon officially revealed. My personal favorite is the Ice Fairy type Ninetales, but I also really like Sandshrew, Sandslash, and Marowak. I even like Alolan Exeggutor, and especially the memes about it. Now, although we have these 8, it's pretty much guaranteed that we're going to get more, and that's obviously really exciting. So in this video, I'm going to count down the top 5 Pokemon that I want to see get Alolan forms. I'm going to talk about which ones I personally want to see, but I'm also going to keep in mind Pokemon that I think are the most likely to get them. So, for example, I'm not going to be talking about any Pokemon that have Mega Evolutions, since I highly doubt that Pokemon that so recently got something to bring them back in the spotlight would get something else so soon. So be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't, and without further ado, here are the top 5 Pokemon that I want to see get Alolan forms. Number 5. Donphan. As of now, it seems like the majority of people believe that only Generation 1 Pokemon will be getting Alolan forms, especially since every single one of the 8 we've received so far has been from Kanto. However, I think there's a solid chance that some non-Kanto Pokemon will be getting Alolan forms. I do think that the majority of Alolan forms will be from Kanto, but I think there's a decent chance that some Johto and maybe even some Hoenn Pokemon will get the Alolan forms. And if we only get one Alolan form Pokemon from Johto or Hoenn, I want it to be Donphan. I've always liked Donphan, and even though the concept of a Pokemon based on a tire sounds like it'd be really silly, I think Donphan was really well executed. It never got a Mega Evolution or a brand new evolution of any kind, and it wasn't really a prevalent Pokemon in Gen 6, so I think it'd be a pretty strong candidate to receive an Alolan form. If Donphan does get one, I think it'd be really cool for it to change to the grass typing, possibly adapting to a more forest-like environment rather than the rough terrain that the Fire Red Leaf Green Pokedex says that it's from. I also think this would be cool because it'd draw a contrast between African and Indian elephants, since one is from more of a plains-like habitat where the other is more from forest habitats. I think changing the tire-like rubbery surface to something more like wood would be really cool, and it'd allow for Donphan to keep rolling around like it normally does. I also think it makes sense for Alolan Donphan to be a bit smaller than regular Donphan, since Indian elephants tend to be a bit smaller than their African counterparts. Number 4. Arbok. I've always thought snakes were cool, so therefore I've always really liked Arbok and Seviper. However, since I think Kanto Pokemon are far more likely to get Alolan forms, I had to go with Arbok here. Arbok is a really cool looking Pokemon that sadly hasn't been as relevant since Jesse's went off to look over that Ekans herd? Pack? One second. Aha! A group of snakes can be referred to as a den, bed, pit, or nest. The exception to this is a group of rattlesnakes, which is called a Roomba. To watch over that Roomba of Ekans. I think it'd be really cool for Arbok to either become or gain the water type, therefore being based more on sea snakes, since sea snakes live mainly in tropical waters and Alola is obviously very tropical. Could you imagine just being out surfing and then fishing and pulling up a badass striped Arbok or Ekans? In real life, I'd be terrified, but in the games, I would be super hyped. Number 3. Rapidash. Originally, I had Arcanine in this spot on this list, mainly due to the supposed leaks about a water-type Arcanine and the fact that Ninetales got one, and the two are often seen as counterparts. However, I realized that I don't actually think that Arcanine will get an Alolan form, mainly due to its appearance in its regular form in one of the Pokemon Sun and Moon trailers. In my eyes, this eliminates it from consideration, since Alolan form Pokemon are the only form of that Pokemon that can be found in Alola, and that Arcanine is very obviously its regular form. Similar trailer appearances eliminate some other Pokemon from consideration, such as Dragonite and Fearow. So instead I opted to go for another really cool Generation 1 Fire type, Rapidash. The main reason I think it'd be cool for Rapidash to get an Alolan form would be that its biology would have to change a lot. Rapidash's main thing is that it's a horse with a flaming mane. However, if they change its typing, they'd have to get really creative with what to make its mane out of, which is something that I really want to see. I'd love to see it become a ghost type, with wispy smoke or whatever ghostliness coming from its mane instead, and giving it some ominous glowing red eyes would be super badass as well. I don't really know how we'd explain this adaptation, but as we've seen from Alolan Raichu, we don't actually have to have a good reason at all. Number 2. Lapras. Everyone likes Lapras. Seriously, do you know anyone who dislikes Lapras? I don't. Lapras is a beloved and iconic Pokemon that's never gotten any new evolutions or mega evolutions. The only thing I've really seen that was an attempt to bring it back to relevance was surfing on it in X and Y, but that was fairly small. Since Lapras is so popular and it hasn't really gotten any favors done for it in a really long time, I think Lapras is a really likely candidate to get an Alolan form that everyone would want. I think Lapras will most likely remain a water type since any attempt to change its fins into legs would look pretty awkward. However, I definitely think that its ice type will change, since the only colder areas of Alola appear to be the top of that mountain, and Lapras definitely isn't getting all the way up there. I'd like to see some modifications that make it seem more adapted to the tropical environment, such as brighter colors or some new markings. I think a likely candidate for the new typing would be Water Fairy, since Lapras's kind, lighthearted nature seems very appropriate for a fairy type. Water Electric also seems like a cool typing, but I think that's substantially less likely. Number 1. Nidoking and Nidoqueen. Yes, this is technically one Pokemon, but we all know that if one of them got one, the other one would too. Nidoking is one of my favorite Kanto Pokemon, and I think Nidoqueen is really awesome as well. Both have really badass original designs, and neither of them have ever really gotten any sort of extra attention. Therefore, both of them really deserve an Alola form. The rumored leaks say that Nidoking and Nidoqueen will become poison fighting, and while I could see that being cool, I think a more drastic type change would be more exciting and better. One typing that I see being really awesome is Steel typing, since they already have a somewhat armored appearance that would just need to be amplified a bit. This could be explained by Nidoran having more natural predators in the Alola region, so they had to develop more protections against their natural enemies. Another typing I'd love to see would be Fire Ground. If Nidoran found themselves in the more volcanic environment, they'd likely become pure fire type, since they'd have to adapt to the higher heat, and they wouldn't have as much of a need for poison since most organisms around there would likely be resistant to the toxic volcanic gases. Then when they fully evolve, they would gain the ground type, since Nidoking and Nidoqueen are already physically better suited for digging. But whatever they decide to do, I'm confident that Alolan Nidoking and Nidoqueen would look awesome, and I really hope we get them. So there we have it. Those are the top 5 Pokemon that I want to see get Alolan forms that I think actually have a legitimate chance to. Like I said before, I adore this concept, and I am really excited to see which other ones we get. What did you think of this video? Do you agree with my list? What are some other Pokemon you want to see get Alolan forms? Let me know in the comments below! And if you like this video, be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, you should definitely subscribe for more fun Pokemon content of all kinds. Alright, that's all I have for now, so until next time, Pokefans. Gotta catch them all!